How you doing, YouTube family? Today is Friday, October 24th, 2025. It's your man Big D, and I'm back with another one. Want to thank all you good folk out there in YouTube land for continuing to rock out with my son and I. We greatly appreciate you. Thank you. Well, family, I'm back with another video. And in this one, I got my man Billy Carson, and he is giving his thoughts and opinions on this whole three-eye atlas phenomenon. If you've not been keeping up with the news, there is an interstellar object that came from another galaxy, and it is heading toward Earth. And basically, it seems like everybody, especially the politicians, they are very dismissive of this. Nobody's talking about it. NASA not talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. And that is oftentimes that's what happened. They create other smoke and mirrors and BS over here as means of misdirection to get you looking over here while they doing some BS over there. So we gonna go on ahead and let my man Billy cook, and I will give my thoughts at the end of it.
Is an amazing anomaly. I just literally interviewed Avi Loeb, I was the first person to interview Avi Loeb, the head of astrophysics at Harvard University, to talk about Three Eye Atlas before everyone else, including the news, CNN, and Fox, and Discovery Channel, and everyone, Travel Channel, all got a hold of him. I was the very first on this platform. Avi Loeb was here talking about Three Eye Atlas when it was still an enormous amount of miles away. This thing now is already here. It's pretty close. It's already maneuvering around the sun. It's on a guided trajectory, an intelligently designed trajectory inside of the ship. The ship itself, I call it a ship, is intelligently designed. It has thrust vector. So Three Eye Atlas has its own thrust vector. What does that mean? Well, when you have a comet or an asteroid, as they move towards the sun, they have natural outgassing because the cosmic rays begin to heat it up and friction begins to heat up from gravitational lensing. And all of a sudden, this thing begins to heat up and vibration and friction get created inside of it. And then the outgassing of whatever this thing is made of, right? Ice crystals, particles, whatever it is, water. Sometimes there's water in there, so they turn into ice. Sometimes um, it could be propane, believe it or not. That's kind of so cold that it's part of the object and that begins to off gas, or hydrogen. All these different things a comet or an asteroid can be made of, and of course there's metals and everything else there. But this outgassing happens, and so when it gases out, that shifts the trajectory of the object a little bit because it's like little tiny thrusters coming out in random locations. So you can see a real comet or asteroid shift its trajectory randomly on its flight path because of outgassing as it approaches the sun. That's actually normal. What's not normal is for this thing to have a coma around it that's stable with no outgassing and only a thrust vector coming out of the rear and pivoting, making it angle at specific junctions. So now all of a sudden, we have this object that's about just a little bit bigger than Manhattan in New York. That's how big it is. And it's moving at about, I don't know, some crazy like 140 miles a second. And it has thrust vectoring, and it's got its own shield. Maybe it's to bend cosmic rays or prevent particles in space from damaging it as it moves at that speed. Who knows what it is? But the one thing we do know, asteroids and comets don't have thrust vectoring. They don't navigate space with a purpose. They don't navigate and move into a particular trajectory to allow themselves to navigate through a solar system without hitting any planets and moons. They don't coordinate and approach towards the sun and show braking, right? They don't show that. So if you're in space and you're utilizing massive bodies like planets and moons for gravitational assist, which we've done with probes and stuff. As you approach your next object, your next spatial body that you want to harness the energy of it, you have to do something called braking. You have to slow down just enough to obtain a Lagrange point and spin around that Lagrange point around that object, whether it's a sun or a planet or a moon, at a specific rate of speed and utilize and harness the energy or the gravity of that spatial body to slingshot you deeper into space, saving you an enormous amount of fuel and energy by harvesting the energy of the gravitational field of that spatial body. This thing is displaying all the characteristics of an artificially made, intelligently designed object. Images have come in, okay, that are showing interesting characteristics. Take a look at this. These are some of the images of 3I Atlas. When you look at these images, they just don't look like a rock. This image kind of on the left, the first two on the left, kind of look like the Death Star from Star Wars. They have the octagon hole in the center there, right? And look at the right side close-up image of this thing that came in. What in the world is that design on the side of this object? Let's take a closer look at that. What is that on 3I Atlas? This is bizarre. This is very, very bizarre. I'm not going to make a hard claim on what I think it is. I'll let you figure out what you think it is for yourself. But I don't think this is a rock.
Hmm.
I just don't think we're looking at a damn rock. Now, that's my personal opinion. I just don't think we're looking at a rock. Rocks with afros, I guess. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is one of the most monumental discoveries of all time. Of all time. Monumental. And this thing is rendezvousing with us. I know that Avi Loeb's science team sent probes to collect particles from the tail of this thing. I'm waiting to get that science data from him. All right. I'm waiting to get that science data. But these are official images. And what we're seeing here is extremely interesting, to say the least. Extremely interesting. Nobody knows what it is. I'm not going to make a hard claim. We can all assume what we all think it might be. But it's just very interesting. And after seeing this, I just don't believe it's a rock. I just don't believe it anymore. I'm on Avi Loeb's side. When a Harvard astrophysicist says this thing is artificial and displaying artificial tendencies, I'm going to go with him. This man went to school for this. Not that school matters so much, but he studied astrophysics at a very high level and became the head of an astrophysics department at a major university. He might know what he's talking about. He's risking losing his own job talking about these types of random topics. So for him to come out and go public worldwide about this, I'm going to lean towards him because he's putting everything on the line for it. Grant money, funding, you name it. I'm going to go with him. And I'm going to say after seeing this, I believe him now. This is not a rock. This is suspicious. Very, very suspicious. Look at this. Wild, huh? Just wild. So I'll be talking a lot more about 3I Atlas over the next couple weeks. But looking to get more data, looking to get more information on it. One of the most amazing things we'd ever see in a lifetime, and we were alive to see this now. We are alive to witness this now. And we have to take what we can get because who knows what's going to happen when they begin to suppress what it really is At some point, they're going to take over the information. You know that. My hypothesis is that 3i Atlas is an artificially created object. Okay. It comes out of the region of the sky where the wow signal was discovered. Okay. The wow signal. And so the wow signal, I'll tell you, the wow signal, that was in 1977. Okay. And so the wow signal, I'm going to save this image and I'm going to put it on the screen for you real quick. The wow signal was a signal that was picked up by astronomers in 1977 that were scanning the sky for intelligent frequencies. And they picked up a frequency that was so intelligently designed and so incredible that the astronomer working that day wrote wow on the document that printed out the location of this signal. This is in a 19, I was 7 years old, or see, I was either 6 or 7, depending on what month it was. This is how long ago they got this intelligently created and sent signal from this star. And that's the origin of where it came from in space. Okay? Now, that's right, Marcy, the same year I had the sighting was 1977. Marcy been paying attention. That's right, Marcy. Same year that I saw the UFO fly across my backyard, which is what got me into all this research in the first place. It was the first thing that started me down this path. In case you didn't know my story. There goes another one. David Christopher was born May 17th, 1977. But this signal came from this star. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, when R.V. Loeb's team of astrophysicists backtracked the origin of 3i Atlas, guess where it came from, guys and gals? Guess where this thing came from? It came from the Wow signal star. No coincidence that this thing is real. It came from the Wow signal star. Now that's mind-boggling. So my hypothesis is that this thing that star system picked up a frequency of Earth. Whether it's a nuclear signature from us testing nukes and dropping nukes on people, because that resonates through space-time. Whether it's I Love Lucy from the 1960s radio wave that went out and they picked that up, because radio waves are waves of light that travel through space infinitely. And if you have the right equipment, you can detect that frequency. You can actually watch I Love Lucy 5 light years away if the frequency reaches you, right? So did they pick up ambient frequencies from Earth, signs of life traveling at the speed of light through space? Did they pick up frequencies from some of our early satellites that we had put up in space? Did they pick up signature of nuclear warfare? Whatever the case may be, they might have detected something that says, hey, there might be something alive over there that's intelligent. And then they may have sent another frequency back toward us to see if we can detect it. We picked up the wow signal 1977. And then, guess what? All of a sudden, this object is hailing from the same star. And now it's 2025. Took that long for it to get here. My hypothesis is this a probe coming to take a peek? Or it's so large, it's hard to imagine sending a probe that large, something the size of a city. So I had to evaluate, either these people are massive people, and it could be a probe based on the size of them. Maybe this is small to them, or maybe it's inhabited by people. Maybe there is a crew on a mission, a flyby mission. They chose a specific trajectory and coordinate to arrive here at a specific time in a specific place with us on a specific side of the sun, with Mercury in a specific location, Jupiter in a specific location. They were very careful in their timing. They orchestrated this. This is logistic planning. advanced logistics because you have to know the orbital period of these planets around the sun and our movement of around the sun as well in order to time it this perfectly. And this could be a mission where maybe they are prepared to do one of two things. The first thing could be is to see if we're a friend or foe and how dangerous we are, to analyze that, and maybe to make a first, a first handshake, right? A meet and greet. Or they've scanned us already now and realized that Earth is an absolute ghetto and that all we're doing down here is unaliving one another's babies and poisoning one another through foods, destroying our own planet that we actually have to live on, consuming our resources at an abundant rate, spending too much time hating one another over the most trivial, ridiculous things like religion and politics and race color, skin color, and suppressing all the technologies that can help us heal and live and love one another. And so maybe they saw that already and, yeah, they're not ready for a seat at the table. We came all the way out here to say hello. And this is what we found. They've got 30,000 nukes pointed at themselves while they're still on the damn planet with no escape hatch. So just maybe they're not going to say hi this time. Maybe they're just going to say, let's let's keep our ass on this ship. Let's use this gravitational energy from this sun and slingshot around this sucker with this gravitational assist and get the hell out of here before they send some weapons at us. We'll come back again in another 100,000 years and see if they're ready then. But now they're not ready. That's my hypothesis. They came to inspect us. They came to check us out. They came to see if we are a threat to them. Are we a threat to other intelligent life within this sector or region of space as well in the Milky Way galaxy? They found out that we're only a threat to ourselves. That we're self-inflicting our own self-inflicted wounds. That we're slicing our own selves to pieces and dicing our own kids to pieces and calling it progress. That's what they discovered. We're absorbing poisons through the air, through our skin, through our mouth, and that we're toxically poisoning the next generation with systems designed to rob our imagination and rob us of our sovereignty and our power, and that we're being ruled by less than 100 people.
So, family, I'm gonna stop it right there. So, we got to look at this thing and we must evaluate it cautiously. So, there's estimated to be roughly over 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. And that's the part of the universe that we can see through telescopes and probes and whatnot. So for everybody that thinks that we the only thing, only living organism, only intelligent organism in the whole universe, you will have to be delusional if you believe that. So now, knowing that there's nowhere in the world that we are the only intelligent life forms in the known universe, so now we have to look at this thing from this standpoint. And I agree with Billy. I believe that this object is not just a comet because, as he said, rocks don't change course and navigation and trajectory. Rocks don't do that. Comets don't do that. So there's something that is guiding and steering this object. So could it be like Billy said? Could it be one of these things where these beings were reaching out to us based on a signal that they received years and years ago that prompted them to say that, you know what, there may be intelligent life on this planet. So now they came all this way only to find out that human beings are the worst. They came all this way, traveled millions of miles across the galaxy and time itself to find out that the human race is lost. We are no more better than the cavemen were. We just have better technology. Our intelligence level just has grown. So, but when it comes to how we interact with each other, how we view one another, how we view the human race, and how we see color, man, no, we not advanced. If anything, we are subpar. So I can only imagine if I was an extraterrestrial being and I came all this way to find that this planet is full of nuclear weaponry. And like Billy Carson said, you got all these nuclear weapons and ain't no place for nobody to go. I know the billionaires and whatnot got these underground bunkers and whatnot. Okay, so you gonna live your ass underground for how many years until the air is breathable in the event of nuclear war? And then you got to go through a nuclear winter. You got to go through all these transitions while the earth purifies itself to become inhabitable again. So you just gonna sit your ass up under in a bunker for how long? So, family, we as human beings we've got to start looking at things very objectively. We can't get so caught up in the BS of daily life that we forget that, you know what? It is something out there that is greater than us. And what we don't want is something that is of an advanced civilization, has advanced intelligence, has advanced technology, but means us harm. How do we know that this 3 AI Atlas or whatever it is, what's the because I want to make sure that I term it and I coin it the right way because I don't want to misenunciate it. But the thing about it is this whole 3 eye Atlas whatnot, we got to look at it and say, man, how do we know that these beings are not trying to save us? Because they know that there's another civilization that wants to come to Earth to eradicate us. How do we know that they didn't come here to warn us? How do we know? But maybe when they arrive, they say, man, shit, hell, we might as well just let them other folks come and enslave them, eradicate them, because there's no saving them. They can't even get along with each other. Hell, the people that's in charge, they can't even pass a budget so that the government ain't shut down. Hell, they can't the human beings that's on this planet, they don't even see the most of them don't even see the value in working hard. They must rather get a handout from the damn government. So why would an intelligent species of beings waste their time on us? I agree with Billy Carson. I agree with him 100%. Because if nobody else want to pay attention to what's going on, well, that's fine. Go ahead and be the ostrich with your head stuck in the ground. But you know one thing about when an ostrich sticks his head in the ground, the rest of his body is exposed. So, family, do your research. Stay informed. Don't get caught up in the BS. Don't get caught up in the BS. Better keep your head on a swivel and you better keep an open mind. That's the problem with us now. As human beings, we do not have an open mind. We don't. Well, family, always remember be more tomorrow than you were yesterday.